What if you were to become more magnetic if you saw your worth as intrinsic and you stopped sourcing it from the external? Let's dive into my past to kind of give a bit of context and to see how things have changed since I have shifted my energy and I have stopped sourcing my worth externally. So, growing up, I was very much about extrinsic self-worth, right? I tied my sense of self and my sense of self-worth to the external. I've made other videos about this, right? You tie it to a person, you tie it to a thing, you tie it to a job, a university, an Ivy League, a marriage. Oh, if I just get that thing, then I'll finally be worthy. Worthy, worthless, worthy, worthless. Have it, lost it, have it, lost it, right? And so what I've noticed is that one, it's totally backwards to externalize your sense of self-worth, because if you do that, you're basically living in a roller coaster with massive highs and lows. The high when you get it, the low when you lose it, right? Worthy, worthless, right? But the shift in energy that happens and the magnetism that comes with it, the attraction that comes with it, the attractiveness that comes with it is fucking wild. When you know that you don't actually need the things that you think you do outside of you, and I'm not talking about like basic human survival shit. I'm talking about these bright fucking shiny objects that we've learned we need to feel worthy. It doesn't matter what it is: a relationship, a thing, a job, a scholarship, a university, an Ivy League. It really doesn't matter what it is, right? But we place these things on such high levels of importance, right? We place them on a pedestal, right? And we feel like we can't be worthy unless we have them, right? I've done this with relationships. I've done this with things, with you know everything, right? Oh, I finally got it. That means I'm finally worthy, right? Now, the other funny thing about this too, the other funny thing about this extrinsic self worth game is that people can fucking smell it on you, and it is very repellent. It's like the worst kind of fucking body odor you could smell, right? You go up to the person and you can feel their desire for your validation, your approval. Oh, please approve of me, please approve of me, please. It's not good or bad or right or wrong, but it's not healthy because your worth becomes dependent on these things outside of you, right? Now, let me just make this very clear because this is a very, very important and interesting context. Previously, before this era of my life, this time of introspection, doing the work on myself, healing, knowing what it is that fucked me up, I'm not going to talk about that. But previously, before that, I used to very much externalize my self-worth. I used to believe that it was dependent on all of these things that we believe that it's dependent on, because that's what we learn. That not everyone, right? The healthy way to go about it is when you're raising a child, you validate, approve of them, and love them from a very early age. And then a transitional process takes place where you teach them to do that for themselves so they're not externalizing it. Right? And the funny thing is, too, I have seen articles, I've seen videos about mainly articles, but about this whole pursuit of like, oh, well, as you grow older, you naturally stop caring. Well, the reality of the matter is that if you were raised in a way that your parents validated and approved of you, and you were raised in a much healthier way than other people were, right? And they let you be yourself, they let you make decisions and learn and gain confidence through those experiences, you had a healthier childhood. For people that didn't, they're still trying to fucking please mommy and daddy through all these different things outside of them. They're projecting their energy out there rather than bringing it back to here and just doing what they actually want to do. The amount of people with this extrinsic self-worth game that are doing things on a daily basis that they don't want to, because they think that they need to, because they've learned that that's how they get their supply of self-worth, right? It's very repellent. Oh, I'll be happy when I get this person in my life. Oh, I'll finally feel love when I get this person in my life. And when they love me, they validate me and approve of me. Validate me, approve of me. Like that's repellent. It really is. Like I can't imagine that other people haven't come across those. I mean, you see it all the time on like social media, right? Like where people are like, "Oh, give me a like, drop a comment, let me know what you think. I care about your opinion. I can't breathe, I can't live, I can't do what I need to do without it." You smell it on them, right? And I'm laughing because, I'm coming out on the other side now and I'm realizing like, wow, like my worth is not dependent on anything outside of me. And therefore, I don't need to do things that I don't want to do when previously I believed that I had to do things that I didn't want to do, right? There's a difference here. It's a matter of doing things to get things, right? Maybe you're doing things to get self worth, the external, right? Or you're doing things because you fucking enjoy them. And the cool thing about intrinsic self worth, right? When you realize that your worth is inherent there, right? Like babies don't have to do anything to be worthy. They cry, they shit their pants, they do all these these different things. They're still worthy. I mean, depending on how they were raised, they may believe that they have to not do things because if they do things that the caretakers don't like, then they won't be worthy. But like you're already worthy. The worth is there. It's inherent. It's intrinsic, right? And so when you see your worth as intrinsic rather than extrinsic, anything that you do becomes like an end in itself. Like you do it because you enjoy it. You're not doing it because you're like, oh my god, I need to be perfect at this because if I'm not perfect at this, then I won't be worthy. Like there's a lot of pressure there, and you don't need to. You don't need to feel that way about it. You don't need to approach it from that standpoint. So you become more magnetic and more attractive when you not only see your worth as intrinsic, but you also be as though it is intrinsic. Like actually, you know, think, feel, and behave in accordance with that. And the reason being is because attachment, which creates resistance and also suffering, is felt. When you are attached to an outcome because you derive your self worth from it, right? That energy dynamic is felt. But instead, when you shift it and you bring it back to yourself and you realize that it is intrinsic and you don't actually fucking need either way, you're good. You don't need whatever it is that you previously believed that you needed, right? You don't need the person, you don't need the relationship, the job, the marriage, the university, the Ivy League, the status. You previously saw that you did because you thought that your worth was extrinsic, right? But imagine living an entire life like that where you're exhausting yourself doing a bunch of things because you're chasing self-worth because you believe that it is outside of you. You believe that you've got to attach yourself to all these different things. You've got to do all these different things that you don't even want to do, right? Living an entire life doing things that you don't want to do, that sucks. That creates a lot of exhaustion, you know? That's the reality of it. So, the way that your energy shifts when you realize your self-worth as intrinsic, which it is, we learn to tie our self-worth to things externally because a lot of us were raised that way. We were raised to believe that we needed things and people um, to be worthy, right? But when you really take it back on yourself and realize that you're already worthy, it's intrinsic, and you don't need anything, you don't need to do anything to be worthy, right? Um, I noticed the shift in energy dynamic with me and a lot of the people in my life when I started setting boundaries. Right? Previously, the way that I had gone about things was really just like projecting my energy onto people. A lot of it was for like, emotional caretaking and stuff and all these different things. Not gonna say why, but um when I really just like started like taking my energy back on myself and stopping like giving it to other people and like trying to like change and fix them and this, that, and the other, I noticed a shift. I did. I did. And it's still there. Because like, oftentimes people are still like, what the fuck, Chris? You know? And I'm just like, I don't know. Not my fucking problem, right? Um your energy shifts when you see your worth and act on it as intrinsic, because you realize that you don't actually need anything out there, right? And what you do is because you enjoy it. You're in your frame, you're grounded, you can feel safe in your body, you choose yourself first, period, right? And that's how it works. And then what happens, the reason that you become more attractive is because you've brought your energy back to yourself. When you project your energy out to people, it can be very repelling and unattractive, right? But then when you bring it back to yourself and you know that you've got yourself and people also see that because that's fucking felt, it shifts everything. It completely transforms everything. It's a wild experience.